Wow, when you read it off like that, it doesn't even register for me. There are days when I don't even realize that I have done some of those things. It doesn't even seem like reality. It's a kind of career that you think of when you're 7, and then you're supposed to grow out of it. But I guess I just never grew out of it. And my passion is exploration. And of course, we have a certain little patch of land called Earth that we like to explore, that we are pretty much held to exploring. This pale blue dot, this mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam, as Carl Sagan so eloquently put it. It is home to all of us, home to everyone who has ever lived and ever died, and it is more than our reality. It is our spaceship traveling through the galaxy. And what I do, my area of exploration specifically involves places in the world that are undergoing extreme transition. So places where, let's say, a tornado is touching down, or perhaps a hurricane is making landfall, or maybe a volcano erupting. There are very few places now for us to actually discover. We're in a bizarre point in history right now where there are no more lost continents to discover. There are no new worlds. But yet, space travel is out of reach. So I don't know if I was born too late or born too early, but I have to deal with what I've got at our point now in human history. And if you think there isn't a lot out there, you're wrong. There is a lot out there. There's plenty for us to explore. The difference between adventure and exploration, if you do something adventurous, then you're doing something that you've never done before. And that's great. You get out of your comfort zone, you're doing something spectacular, and it's adventurous. To do exploration is to discover something that no one has ever seen before. And that's the big difference. And doing exploration in the 21st century can be a difficult thing, but there are some realms out there. Now, it's not easy. It's never easy. Exploration is obviously never an easy thing. If you're someone like, Ferdinand Magellan, you got into a ship and you sailed. These guys were rock stars back then. They were revered. They were celebrated. They didn't know if they were going to make it home. Many of them didn't. Pirates, storms, getting lost or shipwrecked, these were all realities of their occupation. When was the last time you were on a cruise and had to worry about scurvy? Your biggest concern on a cruise these days is the temperature of the pool, right? That's pretty much the concern these days. These guys didn't even know they didn't even know if there was a destination. That is amazing exploration, and of course, they created history. Most people, when we're young, that's when we're full of that exploration mentality. We climb trees. We go to places that are off limits, places that our mother told us you should never go to. Of course, that's the one place that you want to go to, right? Anything that's off limits is where you want to be. But what happens? We grow up. We get responsibilities. We have fear. Well, what's fear? What's the opposite of fear? Not bravery. You can have fear and bravery at the same time. Fear and bravery can coexist at the same time. And as a matter of fact, bravery has to encompass fear. It is proceeding despite having fear. So what is the opposite of fear? Curiosity. Who's more curious than kids? Nobody. They grow up, they want to learn about everything. They're exploring their world. They're going to places they've never been before. And as we get older, we tend to get caught up in the business of the day. I've got too many responsibilities. My wife will kill me if I go. There's no place left to discover. That's the other issue. So we have fear, and we have maybe a lack of places to discover out there. And this is what sort of puts us in this mindset that there's no places left to explore. The world has been mapped. I can go on my phone right now, zoom down on Google Maps, and see that I had my car parked in my driveway on the day that that satellite photo was taken. So we pretty much have a good idea of what's on planet Earth. But what else is out there? Well, space. The moon, that is certainly one of the realms of exploration, but we've been there. It was a while ago, 1969. The last time we walked on the moon, 1972. I wasn't even in kindergarten. And we don't have the ability to go back. The plans for a moon base, canceled. It has been a long time since we've been there, but that's our gold standard for exploration. How many times have you said, we've been to the moon, we can send a man to the moon, but we can't cure cancer. We've sent a man to the moon, but we can't cure world hunger. We've sent a man to the moon, but we can't build a tap that doesn't drip all night and keep me awake. Right? That's our standard for progress. That was 1972. Surely we can do better than this. We can't even, the US, can't even put a man into space. The first time they did that, Alan Shepard, 1961. We are that far regressed in that realm of exploration. So what is available to us? Well, we've got the International Space Station. That's pretty cool. It's a marvel of technology and engineering, but the limitation here is that it orbits Earth. It's locked into this spin around our planet. Great for science, not so great for exploration. Okay, so what else? Where else could we go? What's the next logical step? Mars. Okay, Mars is awesome. Mars is great. Mars is really far away, and it's going to be really expensive to get there. This, I am convinced, is going to be the next big thing. Obviously, it's going to be. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. It takes a rocket scientist to get there, right? But until we get boots on the ground on the Martian surface, our gold standard is still going to be the moon. Robots are great. Rovers are awesome. We can learn a lot of science. We can take the steps to prepare for a Martian mission. But I tell you, if you're old enough to remember, or certainly if you know your history, the passion that was created around the Apollo missions was palpable. It was the Cold War, it was the space race against the Russians, and people were enthralled with going to the moon. And I'm very confident that the world will rally around a Mars mission. Of course, it's going to be many decades away. So where are we right now? We can't get to Mars. We've been to the moon. We pretty much know the Earth. Let me give you a couple of examples of some of the explorations that I have done. This is an island called Hunga Ha'apai in Tonga. You mentioned it at the very beginning. I'll give you the story. It's awesome and kind of frightening at the same time. I was in New Zealand filming my Angry Planet TV show, and there was a volcanic eruption that came out of the South Pacific Ocean, created a brand new island. No one had ever set foot here. When was the last time you set foot on a place where no human has ever been? When was the last time you touched a tree? Think about it. When was the last time you saw the dark night sky? 7 billion people on this planet, a lot of light pollution. So as soon as this place, I saw the news clips, as soon as I saw this brand new volcanic island, I knew that I was going to get there. I didn't know how, but I knew that I had to go and set foot on this place and show the world the newest land on Earth. How often do you get that opportunity? I flew to Tonga, I dropped everything, I chartered the world's most decrepit fishing boat that you could possibly imagine. The crew was literally bailing water out of the engine compartment the entire trip. It took us a day on the boat to get out there. The seas were rough. I fell over, cracked my head open. I'm bleeding. The lifeboat that we're towing behind this fishing boat kept getting untied. I guess the sailors didn't know how to tie knots in Tonga. And the crew had to jump overboard into shark-infested waters to get the lifeboat, tie it back on. Comedy of errors the entire way. We finally get to the place. We didn't know if we were going to get arrested because the Tongan Navy had set up a cordon around. So luckily we didn't run into any battleships. I don't know if they have battleships in the Tongan Navy. I probably not. But we get there, and I can see it. And luckily, the eruptions had stopped. When I explore volcanoes, I typically want them to be erupting. Otherwise, it's just a mountain. But this one, I actually wanted it to be stopped because I wanted to get right on it. But the sea was too rough. We could not get ashore. And there was no way that I was going to go that far and not make it ashore. So what we did, is we made the decision, okay, we're swimming. I'm going. So there's myself and my cameraman / producer, the two of us. It's like, okay, we're going in. We grab some of our cameras, we stuff them into a dry bag, we jump overboard, and we swim to shore. I'm standing on the newest land on Earth. He comes ashore, we pull out our cameras, it's like, okay, it's time to film, this is great. And I look down and I realize that my clothes are still back on the boat. So here I am, about to film for international television. I have my sandals, my life jacket, and my underwear. And that's it. And next thing I know, I've got a camera with a red light in my face, and a director saying, okay, be compelling. So it was, one of those days where you just have to bow to the absurd. And so I did, and I discussed the island, and it was amazing because the island was so brittle and so new that I could pick up rocks and crush them with my hand. And there were spots where you could put your hand on the ground. There's this crater lake that formed, and you could put your hand down on the ground, and it was still hot to the touch, like fresh baked bread out of the oven. And every step I took, I knew was a spot that no human had ever been to before. And what an amazing opportunity to be able to do that, document it photographically, and share that with the world to show people that there are indeed some new realms of exploration. There are other places where Google satellites cannot peer. Sure, we've seen the surface of the Earth, we can map it, but underground there are spots where the satellites can't reach. The only way to explore them is to get dirty. And the most amazing spot underground that I've ever had the wonderful opportunity to explore is the Nika Crystal Cave in central Mexico. It's as dangerous as it is beautiful. It was accidentally discovered only in the year 2000. Recently discovered. There were silver miners working deep underground, 900 feet underground, and they're drilling away. And they break through into this chamber. And what they found was something that no human had ever seen. Crystals, some of them 10 meters long, weighing 55 tons. They're made out of selenite, which is the same basic material that makes up drywall. It's crystallized gypsum. So the material itself is not so exotic, but the way that the crystals formed was extraordinary. It took 500,000 years of this flooded cave to sit filled with water that was about 65 Celsius. There's a chamber of magma deep underground that holds that water at a very constant temperature and allowed these gigantic crystals to form. There are not even any small crystals. Every crystal in this cave is gigantic, by far the largest in the world. And I had a rare opportunity to be able to go there and document it. But the reason why it's as dangerous as it is beautiful is because that chamber of magma that's underneath the cave is still there. So the heat inside the cave is unbearable. How hot is a hot day in the summertime here? 30 degrees? 35 degrees? It's 52 with a relative humidity approaching 100%. So you've got the heat of the Sahara Desert combined with the humidity of basically the rainforest, of the Amazon. So as soon as you walk in, you start to die, literally. You sweat, but it's so humid that it can't evaporate. The air temperature is warmer than your skin temperature, so you actually absorb heat. You can't shed that heat. So you start to experience heat stress, and then heat stroke, and then you keel over and die. Without these special cooling suits that we were wearing, we could only manage 12 minutes inside the cave. With the cooling suits, that consisted of a vest filled with ice packets and a backpack with a respirator that fed cool air through basically a fighter pilot's mask to allow me to breathe chilled air and keep my eyes from getting scorched. And as long as I had that equipment on, I could stay in for about 35 minutes at a time. And after that, you're starting to hallucinate. You can't judge distances very well, and it's very complicated, very convoluted inside this cave, very easy to get lost. And the deeper in you go, the more magical it is. It's unlike being on Earth. It's like being at Superman's Fortress of Solitude. It really is. It is stunning. The most beautiful place I've ever experienced. And here's the thing. It's temporary. Right now, because these silver miners work in that area, they pump the groundwater out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Millions of gallons of water. The cave itself is below the water table. At some point, the silver is going to run out. When that happens, then the mine is no longer profitable. When the mine's no longer profitable, they're going to turn off the pumps and leave. And then the cave is going to flood again, and we'll never, ever see it again. No one knows how many caves like this exist. Several have been found in that area. This is by far the crown jewel of them all, but who knows what else is out there? It is a great mystery. And there's not even, if it wasn't for the silver mine that accidentally punched into this cave, we would never know about it because there's no entrance to the outside world. Really, really stunning, extremely spectacular, and the kind of place that unfortunately won't be around. We don't know if it's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, 100 years from now, but someday it'll be gone. And along those lines, there are still plenty of places on Earth that we have yet to explore or have recently discovered. Places like this cave in Vietnam, only discovered in 2009, was the first time it was surveyed. What's so special about it? The largest one in the world. How did we go until 2009 and not discover a cave that you could put a skyscraper into? Massive. New realm of exploration out there. The third largest waterfall in the world, Gokta Waterfall in Peru, only discovered in 2002. Third highest in the world, only 2002. Another amazing recent discovery. There are plenty of them out there. Of course, here on Earth, the deep seas. We know more about the moon than we do about the deep oceans. There are deep sea volcanic vents that were only discovered in 1977 by Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. And there are organisms that live at these deep sea volcanic vents. And it's the only ecosystem on Earth that doesn't require sunlight. The bacteria that live here get their nutrients from hydrogen sulfide and other compounds that are spewed out by these volcanic vents. They in turn feed tube worms, crustaceans, crabs, other organisms down there. If we had a way to switch off the sun, we could do it. They wouldn't know and they wouldn't care. Totally rewrote biology textbooks. One simple discovery. 1977, not that long ago. And we know for a fact that there are more of these that are yet undiscovered. There have been temperature anomalies discovered in all of the Earth's oceans, including the Arctic. So we know there are more volcanic vents down there, and each one has unique species. But we have no idea exactly what, but we know they're there. So basically, there are still plenty of places to explore here and, of course, off of Earth. And I am convinced, absolutely convinced, that someone listening to this right now, some kid, is young enough, ambitious enough, interested enough, and curious enough that they could be mission commander of the next mission to Mars. It's within this generation's grasp. Thank you.